Hey guys, welcome to Amor's Toy Workshop. This is Amor Mark II. Today we'll be taking a look at the first review of 2019. Comparative review between the K.O., Figma, One Punch Man, and Dasin models One Punch Man. So, let's do it. So before we start the review, let's take a brief look at their boxes. So the K.O. Figma One Punch Man came in a considerably larger box compared to the Dasin models One Punch Man. So on the sides are pictures of the figure. On the front is a large window where you can clearly see the figure and some of its accessories. And at the back shows different poses that you can do with the figure. So pretty much standard stuff. While for the Dasin model, One Punch Man comes in a plain box. In fact, it's so plain, doesn't come with any illustrations except on the back of the box where it shows Saitama. So that's it for the boxes. So here are the figures out of the box. First, let's look at their accessories. The K.O. Figma One Punch Man came with a goofy head, his serious head, crossed arms, a teacup, and stand with 3.5 pair of hands. So it doesn't come with any instructions. And for the Dasin model, came with 4 different heads, 2 goofy heads and 2 serious faces, his shopping bag, arm for the stand, and 2 extra pairs of hands. It comes with an instructions and a colored base for the stand. One thing to note is that these instructions came with these coupons. The one that Saitama got from his favorite local grocery stores. So these coupons came printed with the manual, and as you can see, I've already cut them up. And when you fold this, you can see there's a blank space here where the coupons fit perfectly. So that's for the accessories of these two. Okay, so here are the figures out of their boxes. So let's take a closer look at their accessories. The Figma and the Dasin model came with unique accessories that are different from each other. Let's take a look at the Figma. Figma came with the teacup with the Hero Association logo. As I remember, this teacup was used in the show first when he first met Genos. So this teacup didn't come with any clear plastic used to simulate the tea as in the original, and it only came with an empty teacup, unlike the original, which had, as I remember, a clear plastic inside to simulate some tea. And this is another novelty for the Figma. It's a cross-armed attachment, so you can pose Saitama in his signature crossed arms. And it came with these 2 weird looking plugs. Actually, at first I thought there was some purpose to this, but no, there isn't any purpose of these 2 aside from covering the holes on the crossed arms. And he came with his goofy looking head. So this is his normal goofy looking head. It's pretty nicely detailed, even for K.O. And he has 3.5 extra pairs of hands. So he has 2 gripping hands, 2 open palm splayed open hands, 2 relaxed hands, and 1 hand used for gripping the teacup. He also came with this attachment for the stand. I'll show you later how this is used. And he came with a standard Figma stand. So as with most Figma K.O.s that I've encountered, the stand came plain, but in this case it has a Figma logo, much like the original one. So that's it for the accessories of the Figma. And for the Dasin model, he came with his shopping bag with some onion leeks here, grocery bag. So this was first shown in episode 1 while he was remembering how he became super strong, and this was the grocery bag that he was carrying. He also came with instructions. Figma didn't come with any instructions since it's K.O. But the instructions, as I said, came with this grocery coupons. So Saitama was very particular with the sale, so he always gets these coupons. He has 2 extra pairs of hands, 2 hands for gripping the grocery bag, and 2 relaxed hands. One thing that I like about Dasin model Saitama is he came with 3 extra heads. One is his normal goofy looking face, or this is his normal goofy looking face. And here is a goofy looking surprise face. So he looks surprised. And here is his serious shouting battle face, or it seems like he's smiling here. He doesn't actually look angry. He looks seriously happy here in this face. And it came with a figure arts styled stand, with the only difference being the base is colored mustard yellow, same as Saitama's uniform. So that's it for the accessories. So comparing these 2 figures, one of the most obvious differences between them are the height. So the Figma comes at 5.5 inch tall, and the Dasin model comes at around exactly 6 inches tall. So that's a full ½ inch difference between the height of these 2. And the height difference becomes more obvious when you stand them back to back against each other. There, the height difference becomes more obvious. Appearance-wise, they look similar, but then again, clearly very different from each other. Saitama has a relatively simple costume design, but Figma and Dasin approached his appearance very differently. As you can see, the Figma has more of a baggy appearance. As you can see, he has a sculpting details that makes him look softer or baggy. And the Dasin model appears to be more buff. So you can say that the Figma's appearance is more akin to his goofy disposition, while the Dasin model is more akin to his serious disposition or battle mode. So moving on to the capes. So Figma has a larger flowing cape, as you can see. It comes in 2 pieces, which can be posed through the swivel hinge attachment on his back. You can pose it relatively well, but because of the weight of the cape, it's better that you use the stand, and it creates a big gap right here, so it really isn't suited for big flowing poses like this one, since it will create a gap. So this is the most that you can spread it out. Spreading it more would result in a disconnected cape. And of course, if you need a stand, as I told you, this attachment will be replacing this peg for attaching it on the stand. So to remove the cape and replace it, you have to pull it out, pull the peg out, and replace it with the stand attachment. By pulling the peg out, you can also remove the cape entirely if you want to picture Saitama in a more relaxed appearance. So swapping heads is fairly simple for the Figma. Just pull out the head. As you can see, there's a peg here and a ball joint that's connected to the head. The goofy base also comes with a separate peg. One thing to note is that the Figma K.O. had a short neck appearance. So in order to remedy this, I put some sticky tack inside of the ball socket before I put in the ball peg, and it made Saitama's head sit a little higher on his neck. So it's pretty simple to replace heads. Hands are also simple enough to replace, as you just pull it. And as you can see, the peg, ball peg for the wrists are not colored properly, and they were just painted over. Unlike in the original, I assumed that it was colored in the proper color of the plastic. Unlike here, it came painted, so there's a risk of paint rubbing off. And let's put in his teacup holding hand. Okay, so it attach fairly easily. And let's put the teacup and there you have it. So Saitama with his teacup. So if you want to attach the crossed arms, you have to pull the arms out from the pegs, like this one. So I'll remove the other one and then I'll show you how he looks with his crossed arms. Okay, so here is how Saitama looks with his cross arm attachment. So it was fairly easy to attach. It is also, I want to note that these cross arm attachment can be separated from each other to facilitate easier attachment. And after that, you have just to position this over each other, and there's a peg, as you can see, and there's a hole on the other hand, and you just have to attach it to each other, and you now have Saitama in his cross arm pose. The other arm doesn't have fingers on them, so to make it look more natural when the arms are posed in this position. So those are the unique traits of the Figma Saitama, and you can, as I said, you can attach the cape and use the attachment to attach the cape to Saitama. And now he has his cape on again, and attach him to his stand. So that's for the Figma Saitama. So now let's have a look at the Dasin model Saitama. So aside from the height, difference is in the cape. Dasin model Saitama has 3-piece cape that is attached differently from the Figma. So the Figma needed the attachment peg in order to attach the cape, but Dasin opted for a more radical approach. As you can see here, that the attachment points for the capes are attached by attachment on his back, so it's permanently attached. So the cape, since it's in 3 pieces, much like the SH Figure Arts Doctor Strange and Thor, means that you can pose it in different ways, but in this case it also has a disconnected look since the middle part is not wide enough to allow a spread posing of the cape. But you can pose it in one side. This is a separate part for his cape, so they have holes here on his shoulders and a peg, and it's loosely attached, so just something to note. So as I said, since it's in 3 pieces, you can pose the cape as if it's being swept to the side like this. So compared to the Figma, I think you have a bit more dynamic posing options for the Dasin model. But here is the thing. Dasin was known for releasing slam dunk figures with soft goods uniforms. So why did Dasin opted to give Saitama a plastic cape instead of a cloth cape. That I really don't know. Besides, I think a cloth cape would have been more economical and more suited for posing rather than these clunky cloth capes. So if you want Saitama to look without his cape, so you simply remove this, and these are just simply attached by pegs that can be removed from their sockets. So it's really easy to remove. So here you have Saitama in his plain look, but downside to this look is attachments on his back remains. Also, one thing to note, Figma, which usually has this hole on the middle torso, doesn't have it since it used the attachment points for the capes to attach the stand. But in Dassin model, they have this. So their stand has a bracket to hold or grip the waist, or better, you can just insert the attachment on the waist. So no need for attachments. You just remove the attachment and attach the stand directly on his waist. Okay, so he comes with, as I told you earlier, different heads. So his head is fairly easy to replace. Just pull the head from the neck, and there's a ball joint, and attach the head that you want. So here is his goofy surprise face. Here is his battle ready face, or kind of a screaming or happy, seriously happy face. I remember seeing this face when he was having a dream fighting the Subterraneans. So this is where that face came, when he said that it was all coming back to him. And here is his normal bored face. So you might be wondering if you can attach the face or the heads of the Figma to the Dasin model and vice versa. For the Figma head, you can remove it from the Figma figure. As you can see, the Figma ball joint is significantly larger than the Dasin ball joint. So it means that you can attach the Figma head on the Dasin model, but it would need some sticky tack. And you can attach the head on the Dasin model. So there's also a difference in the skin tone, but it's not really that obvious. So you can see here is the smiling bored face that Saitama has. And one thing to note is that the goofy face of Figma seems to be much larger than the goofy face of Dasin model Saitama. And you can see that the Figma face has a more complex sculpting, having the cheeks, the eyes, and the mouth sculpted, whereas on the Dasin model, it's mainly flat. It seems that the eyes were just painted on with no actual sculpting for the eyes or the mouth, so it's flat, unlike the Figma. Actually, I like the Figma look better than the Dasin model, but I also feel that Dasin goofy face is a bit small for his body, but it's not that obvious. And I think this goofy face fits it much nicer. And because the Figma has a bigger ball joint, you can't fit the faces on it unless, of course, you heat up the head and force the ball socket to be larger. That would mean you cannot attach it to the original body anymore. But I think that the heads of the Dasin model is a better fit on the Figma body. So it's up to you if you want to mix and match the heads. The serious face, it's a bit difficult to remove the peg, but let's try to remove it and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so we're back. So here is how the Figma serious face looks on the Dasin model body, and you can see it fits well, if I might say so myself. It's not much different from the size of the normal Dasin heads. So again, since the peg is much larger, I needed to put sticky tack inside the socket in order to fit the head of the Figma on the Dasin model. And let's put the serious battle face again on the Figma, on the Dasin model. And let's reattach the capes. Okay, so here are the figures with their respective capes attached. So as you can see, they are in their stands with their capes on. The Dasin model allows for a much more greater range of posability due to its design, and Figma is a bit hindered since it can only raise the cape this much, and it's been due to the design, the stand hinders the posing of the cape, so you cannot do really that much dynamic poses with Figma. However, in this case, Figma looks great in just a static pose, while Dasin model is a bit more dynamic, and you can pose his cape and pose him on his stand in more dynamic poses. One thing to note is that Dasin copied the articulation from the SH Figure Arts Bodycon, so it gives him more articulation. Actually, both of them are pretty articulated, but because of the big clunky capes, they are limited in their posability and motion, because you need to use the stands if you want them in more dynamic poses. So after comparing these two models, seeing their pros and cons, and seeing their unique features, I'd say that both are worthy of separate purchase. But if given a chance to only choose one, I'd pick the Dasin Saitama over the Figma Saitama anytime. Why? Because it is more value for your money, as it has more accessories, better scale, and better posability than the Figma. Figma is a good figure, but it's largely hindered by its clunky cape. Actually, both of them are hindered by their hideous plastic capes. If both of them had wired capes, then they would be much better figures. As it is, Dasin model is a better buy for now, as you can pose it better and it will scale well with your other 1:12 figures. You might have a different opinion, so please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please leave a like and a thumbs up, as it will greatly help my channel. Again, this has been Amuro Mark II of Amuro's Toy Workshop, saying thank you for watching and see you again on the next video.